Just a short video to bring to your attention the fact that you have been born into captivity as a slave and you have no natural survival instincts or impulses anymore. You couldn't go out into the woods, gather and hunt food and store it, build a shelter, start a fire, or survive in the woods for any length or duration of time of a substantial nature. And it's that way by design because everything is made so easy, readily available, easily accessible at your fingertips. You just have to pick up your phone, press a button, and everything appears in your doorstep. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they are erasing your connection to the wild. They are eradicating your ability to survive on your own. So now you are solely dependent on them. This is the reason why they're doing it. Why do you think they refer to Mother Earth as dirt and soil, and you're not supposed to get your hands dirty? Why do you think that is? Because they want you to think that the soil of the earth, which is her flesh, trees are the lungs of the earth, and the soil is her flesh. They want you to despise the soil. That's why they call it dirt, filthy, disgusting, putrid, rancid. Wash it off. Because they don't want you to connect to the earth. And God forbid you should walk out barefoot in the earth. Why do you think that you run from the rain whenever the rain falls? Even though the rains, water is the most precious of all commodities in the universe. Why do you think you run from it? Not because you're afraid to get wet. Because it is a connection to source. So whenever it rains, you run inside. You don't walk barefoot in the soil. You don't touch it. You wear gloves. You wear boots. More of a disconnection. You see how they work it, and you just don't even realize it. I'm going to give you a prime example of prejudice, bigotry, right in your face, and you don't even realize it. When you look at your lawn and you see one single dandelion, without lying to yourself, what is your natural impulse and your instinct? Immediately, what comes across your mind? That's a weed, I've got to kill it. Why is that? Because you've been programmed to believe that this is a weed, I have to kill it. Why is that? Because that is different than everything else that surrounds it. A weed, there's no such thing. Everything are flowers, man. God only creates beauty. Why do you think when you see a dandelion, your immediate impulse is an instinct is to kill it? Because it's different than everything else. So therefore it has to be removed. That's how you create a homogeneity and a dystopia. That's exactly their program. The same thing with making things easier and easier and easier for you. Everything is readily available, easily accessible at your fingertips. Press a button, food shows up at your door. Press a button, packages show up at your door. You don't even have to leave your house. Each time that they make it easier and easier, they're actually making it harder and harder because you are now so dependent on them, you couldn't live without them. Very, 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 very few people can actually survive in the wild and thrive. You can't. You don't even have any natural survival skills anymore. They're gone. Just like when birds are born in captivity, just like you and I were born in captivity and were locked in cages, invisible cages. If all they know is their handler or their keeper providing them the food and the water and the shelter, then they lose that natural sense of survival and their survival skills and the abilities to thrive in the wild. So now they are dependent on you, like a dog or a cat or a bird. The same thing is going on here. You are so dependent on this system that if they pulled the plug, you would freak out. You would absolutely lose your mind. You wouldn't know what to do. Where would your food come from? How would you live? If they decided to collapse the infrastructure, you'd be up a creek. Where would your heat come from? And your hot water? Where would your water supply come from? And your food and your shelter? Forget about the creature comforts and the extracurricular activities like, entertainment and movies and video games and all that garbage. That's not even a necessity. I'm speaking of the essential elements of life. Water, shelter, fire, food, clothing. The bare essentials. You don't know how to survive because they made you like that. That is by design. They have made you so dependent on them, you can't live without them. That is power, and that's how and why they control you. It's truth.